Hey everybody, Jessica here with day 17 of my meditation journey out of 100 days. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say for this video throughout my meditation, which isn't necessarily what I want to be doing with my meditation time, but there it is. And I was looking forward to it because I feel that in my previous videos I wasn't quite as authentic as I'm trying to be in these videos. I was trying to come up with something to say of value, and rather than just speaking from my heart. I mean, I am doing that in a way, but in other ways I'm trying to give you something that I think you might want to hear, and it's not always I don't know, I'm not always feeling it in the way that I want to be feeling it. And so I was looking forward to this video because what I want to do is be able to not only offer something of value to you, in processing yourself, understanding yourself, but also to show you that even if you do this for a living, meditation is not some perfect, enlightened thing. There's no place you have to try to get to during your meditation, and in its imperfection, it is perfect. So no matter what your practice is, if you have one or don't, if it's short or long, if you feel blissful, if you never feel blissful, if your mind is running, no matter what's happening, it is perfect. And even those of us who do it regularly and for a long time still have things come up, still have the runaway mind, still wonder how much time is left. So don't let those things prevent you from starting your practice. Don't let those things prevent you from connecting to yourself. As long as you're giving yourself the time and coming back to it and committing to it, you're going to see some difference. But you have to commit to it. You have to commit to the time, whether it's 2 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, it doesn't matter. So I really recommend starting a practice for yourself. If you've never done it before, or if you have and it just hasn't worked for you, start small. 2 minutes is enough to start with. You're not going to stay there, I guarantee it, if you commit to this and making it a daily habit. That will increase. But don't set yourself up for failure and say, I'm going to start out and I'm going to meditate, 30 minutes a day. If you don't have a practice yet, my guess is that's not going to last very long. You're not going to stay committed to it. Some of you will be able to, but a lot of us can't make that commitment, that change, and make it stick right away. So just start with 2 minutes and see what happens. So anyways, beyond that, what I wanted to bring up today that came up for me was what other people are thinking of you. I don't know about you, but this comes up for me a lot, and it came up for me today during my meditation because I was sitting here in my office meditating, and because we're on daylight savings time now, we have a little bit more light, and so I had the blinds open, and I sit pretty still and keep my eyes closed for the most part while I'm meditating. And the thought came into my mind, what if somebody's outside and they see me? What are they going to think of me? And saying that out loud seems pretty silly now. But I realize, and I know a lot of other people are the same way, is we spend a lot of our time when we're around others thinking about what others might be thinking of us. And my guess is that 99% of the time, we're actually very wrong about what others think of us. I can't remember who the quote's from, but there's a quote that says, "What others think of me is none of my business." And that's because A, we don't know what they're thinking, and B, because whatever they're thinking says more about them than it does about us, whether it's positive or negative or in between. So what we end up thinking others are thinking, I feel, is a way for us to actually deflect what we're thinking about ourselves, or what we're fearful about ourselves, or what we're worried about, or what we judge ourselves for. Instead of taking ownership of that and using that knowledge, using that healing, understanding to heal ourselves of negative thinking, we project it onto others. And that way we kind of dispel with some kind of the responsibility for that. And we say, because then we can't do anything about it if others are thinking about it. We'll try, some of us may try to adjust our actions or our words so others don't think those things about us. But I think at the end of the day, it's a way to put that off of us. It's similar to giving control of your emotions to others. You said that thing and it made me feel this way, or you did that and it made me feel this way. But nobody else is responsible for your emotions. The example I always use, and I've probably said it on this here, is if somebody came into a room and you and I are sitting there and tells us we're the ugliest people they've ever seen, we're going to have two completely different reactions. And maybe you're fine because you've always been confident in your appearance and you don't really care what others think about your appearance, but I fall apart and start bawling because I've always been told I was never pretty enough or whatever. So we may have two completely different reactions to the same situation, which has nothing to do with the person who said it. It's because of what we already had inside of us. And so your emotions are your own to control. It's when we're trying to put the responsibility onto somebody else, we're trying to not take responsibility for that. And I think that parallels with putting thoughts into somebody else's head. And so if we can kind of take a look at that and examine, why do I think they think that? And if they do, so what? The kind of cool thing in my meditation today is when the first thing I thought of when I thought of people watching me was I was disconnected from that thought. I didn't take it on and feel low and feel worried. I thought, well, that's an interesting thought. And I was able to look at it rather than start to spiral negative, and maybe I should stand up and close the blinds, or I was able to observe the thought instead rather than identifying with it. And I had this follow-up thought, which was, let them think whatever they want about me. I'm safe. And I had this great feeling of expansion and freedom and safety in that thought. And I think that's something I'm going to use carrying to go forward whenever I catch myself worrying about what others are thinking of me. So that's a good one to practice for yourself as well, is if you do have this habit of worrying about what others are thinking of you, that's a good thing to say, is let them think it. So what? It's not actually hurting me. And number one, I'm probably wrong. Number two, I won't know if they're actually thinking it unless they say something. And number three, it's not hurting me. They can think I'm the ugliest thing. They can think I'm a weirdo if they see me sitting still. And whoever is standing out there for an hour watching me sit still for an hour has other issues, and I don't need to worry about them. I do my Tai Chi here in the morning with the windows or the blinds wide open, and I also think, what are people going to think? And my new follow-up thought is, they're going to think that looks really cool, and they're going to wonder what I'm doing, rather than, oh, that's weird, she's a weirdo, what is she doing? So it was an interesting meditation today. I actually enjoyed it. I had a lot of old patterns come up, but I also had a lot of new stuff come up. So At the end of the day, I'm still encouraging you all to develop your own practice, however small it is to begin with, or maybe if you already have a practice, maybe it's time to deepen your practice. Maybe it's time to go longer or do it a couple times a day, maybe rather than just once. I don't know. So I'd like to hear your thoughts below about today's meditation and what I had to share, or not, whatever you're feeling. So everybody take care. Have a great rest of your evening or day, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you tomorrow for day 18. Bye-bye.